Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And we're about a week away from finding out who the Calgary Flames, as well as the other teams in the National Hockey League, are planning on protecting and exposing in the Seattle Kraken expansion draft. In this video, we're going to talk about that it's worth taking the risk and exposing Mark Giordano. Yes, the captain, still one of our top defensemen on the Calgary Flames. It's worth rolling the dice to expose Mark Giordano, because if we wouldn't protect him, we would definitely lose another bigger piece that I think would sting a lot more. Hopefully Mark Giordano will understand it's a business, and maybe the fact that he is 37 years old, still has 1 year left on his contract at $6.75 million, that we're maybe banking on the fact that maybe Seattle won't take that on, but they could potentially, and to say, take him on as a leader and a veteran on their blue line, knowing that Ron Francis is the general manager, and looking at some mock drafts and the philosophy of Ron Francis. I think the Seattle Kraken will definitely be a lot stronger on their defense. But the options that all teams have when it comes to protecting players for the upcoming expansion draft, you can either protect 8 skaters, 4 forwards, 4 defensemen, and a goalie, or you can protect 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie. I understand, and I think looking at the Calgary Flames and their players, we definitely got to do the 7-3-1 option. Because if you look at the forwards, you got Sean Monahan, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, that'd be the top 3. You also got to get Elias Lindholm, Michael Backlund for 5, and then Andrew Mangiapane and Dylan Dubé. Those would be the 7 players for the forwards that the Calgary Flames will be protecting. We definitely need to keep those players. Keep in mind that Milan Lucic has agreed to waive his no movement clause. Thankfully, he was able to agree to do that, because if Milan Lucic had to be protected because he did not want to waive his no movement clause, I think we could have potentially leave like a Dylan Dubé or a Michael Backlund exposed, because there's no way that those other forwards, as I mentioned, we would leave exposed and we would be saying goodbye to them. And then when it comes to defensemen, there is no way that Noah Hanifin, Rasmus Andersson, and Chris Tanev, there is no way we're going to not protect those players. I know there's been this debate that you've been seeing in Calgary, which I can't believe that's been a debate where people were thinking, well, you definitely got to protect Noah Hanifin and Rasmus Andersson because they're one of our stalwart defensemen right now that still has some upside. And the only one advantage that you can say with Yusuf Valimaki being hurt and missing all last season, or the season before, depending on how you look at it, that he is ineligible to be protected or exposed, that we don't have to use a spot on him. But this is where I have to say it's worth rolling the dice. Because if we were to protect Mark Giordano with 4 defensemen, then we would have to only get to protect 4 forwards. So we're definitely going to lose a much bigger piece if we were to protect Mark Giordano, and the fact that we spent a lot of money on Chris Tanev and tenure, and the fact that Chris Tanev fit in very, very well with the Calgary Flames and actually played all 56 games this past season, and he's definitely a warrior. It's almost time that, given where Mark Giordano is at in his career, that we have to start looking ahead in the future from succession. And obviously the goalie we're going to protect is Jacob Markstrom. He has no movement clause. He spent all the money and term, and that was one of the things he was looking for in free agency that the Vancouver Canucks wasn't able to offer because they had Thatcher Demko. And I'm going to definitely say when it comes to the goaltending, for both Vancouver's sake and Calgary's sake, it's definitely worked out that it's just with the expansion draft that, I think Jacob Markstrom had his moments. He got injured, and I think he had to recover from that injury where his play didn't pick off as much, but I think with a more normal circumstances and a full season, I think we'll finally get to see Jacob Markstrom bounce back. But getting back to Mark Giordano, it's definitely worth rolling the dice. if we happen to lose him to the Seattle Kraken, I mean, all we could say is thanks for your time. I mean, there's no, and that's the other piece of this is that you could say we could make a trade, but there's no prospects or draft picks that we're willing to part with. I would say it's not wise right now to tell Seattle, well, don't take Mark Giordano. I mean, I still see a 50-50 chance that Mark Giordano is going to be a Calgary Flame next season based on the Seattle Kraken expansion draft. If he does not get claimed, he's obviously going to still be a Flame next season unless we trade him in the offseason in something else. But we have to roll the dice and leave him exposed. Because when you look at the forwards that we have to protect and the defenseman that we already have to protect, he's definitely going to be the odd veteran out. But it definitely makes sense at this stage of his career. I know that many mock drafts think that Oliver Shillington is going to be the player that's going to get claimed by the Seattle Kraken from the Calgary Flames because he is that younger defenseman. I mean, he's a restricted free agent, but then Seattle will have time to negotiate with him. I understand that Seattle will actually have a couple days to negotiate free agents, both restricted and unrestricted, ahead of the expansion draft. And that's also if they claim him in the expansion draft, they have a chance to offer him that 8-year deal. Where suppose if it's a free agent that's not within your organization, you can only offer a 7-year contract. But that's all I talk about. That the Calgary Flames, they have to roll the dice and to expose Mark Giordano. I think the media makes it sound like it's more than it actually is. Like, ooh, the Flames have a very tough decision what they're going to do, who they're going to protect with the expansion draft. I mean, I think that Mark Giordano could potentially be the biggest name that we could lose to the Seattle Kraken. Who knows? Maybe the Seattle Kraken may even take Milan Lucic. I mean, he still has 2 years left of his contract, despite the fact it's structured where it's bonus money. But someone close to home, that could be another player. But I think he is likely going to still be here in Calgary because of the contract, and I think that's one of the reasons why he knew the business of the game, that he waived his no movement clause, thinking that it's unlikely he's going to get claimed, knowing that would help the team because we have an abundance of forwards, and this shows that we are set in the top 6. It's definitely the bottom 6 that the Calgary Flames need to fill out in either free agency or potential trades in the off season, and then obviously with defensemen, I mean, it'll likely sting we'll lose the defenseman if it is Mark Giordano or potentially Oliver Shillington, that I think you might need a change of scenery. Anyway, that's probably best case scenario. But what do you think? I mean, I think those are the projected players that the Calgary Flames are going to protect. I can't see any other scenario where it would be anyone else. If it's stunning, obviously I'll make a video and say, what the hell are you thinking? But I think the projected players is going to be the 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and the goalie that I mentioned. And that Mark Giordano is going to be exposed. It's definitely worth taking a chance. Yes, he's been a long-time Flame and one of the top defensemen to ever play for the Calgary Flames, but it's a business at the end of the day. But I think maybe the fact that he's 37, he won the Norris a couple years ago, and you could definitely see his game has declined. But he's definitely still, at worst, a top 4 defenseman on all teams in the NHL. That it's worth rolling the dice. If he doesn't get claims, then we dodged a bullet in a way. But if he does, all we can say is thank you for your service and best of luck in Seattle. So anyways, I'd like to say, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, and Roughnecks, Stampeders, I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel. But I also do a variety of non-sports content like personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, and also do share experience I'm on the road or a sport event. And I've been throwing in some more vlogging on the go, but more likely there'll be a little less vlogging on the go in the summer because I'm anticipating that once the Calgary Stampede is over, let's say, for example, the Seattle Kraken expansion draft, the NHL entry draft, and then free agent frenzy, and then the more compressed off-season, I think I'm going to be busier making sports videos concerning the Calgary Flames and NHL, and then with CFL coming back. But I still have all that on my channel. And I've also recently created a second channel called Brett Hornby Shorts, where that channel I'm going to exclusively just put shorts on there. It's still beta where I am right now, but I'm definitely going to try to take advantage and see how shorts goes to potentially grow that channel and this channel as well. So as I say, if that all sounds like the interest to watch, to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, You know what you need to do? Just make sure you hit like and subscribe. I also have my other social links down in the description below. So, other than the players that I mentioned that I think the Calgary Flames are likely going to protect, is there anything different? I mean, it's basically the consensus. What many vloggers or sports writers say that's who likely the Calgary Flames could protect. It's the wisest move. Would you protect Mark Giordano, or are you like most hockey fans, sports writers, that the Calgary Flames have to roll the dice and see what happens? Because, and the fact that if we want to really keep him, but not protect him, are you willing to part with any assets just to say to Seattle he's off limits? I'm going to say no to all that. I'd say we're banking on the fact that being at least 37, $6.75 million cap hit, that maybe he will not get claimed. But if he does, I mean, still thanks for his service. So I still want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.